Well, I said before, Pep and Tuchel became good pals while they're in Germany together when Tuchel was at Mainz and Pep was at Bayern Munich. They met up several times socially in Munich and talked generally about football. Others were involved as well, and it's become clear that Tuchel is one of the few coaches that Pep Guardiola has admired over the years. There's certainly, at the very least, a big mutual footballing respect for one another. So it'll be interesting to see when they take their places on the touchline exactly what the behaviour is like as the game goes on. City fans in fine voice. You know, they often get criticised here, called the empty hat, and it's pretty silent. None of that tonight. Do they like the Champions League? Don't particularly like UEFA, but I can tell you, these fans do want to win the Champions League. And the noise, you can see fans of all ages. There's a little kid in front of me. He's got his scarf high above his head. He can't be any more than 10. And right in front of him is one of the old timers. Pretty sure he stood on the Kippax main roads all those years ago when City were terrible. And he's here. He's got his mobile out, the 60-year-old. He's taking a video of it all and he's singing along as well. It's Hey Jude yet again. It was at Sheffield Wednesday yesterday in League One. It's at the Etihad this evening for the Champions League as we await the two teams. The players are in the tunnel, the officials are in front of them as well. What a night it promises to be. You've got to remember Tuchel, he was parachuted into Chelsea and he had the players for 4 months, then won the Champions League. He's had these Bayern players for 2.5 weeks. So what can he do with them on the big stage so far in Germany? He won the Klassiker, beat Dortmund 4-2, top of the table clash, lost to Freiburg in the cup and then beat them in the league. Sam mentioned the details of that one not so long back, but that's all so far for Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich. This would be a major scalp as the two teams take to the fields. Flags are being waved away to our right. Big Manchester City flags. A Pep Guardiola flag as well away to our right in the City end. Just a small swathe of red in both tiers away to our right, just to the left of the goal as we look. That's the Bayern Munich fans who are there tonight supporting their team, scarves above their heads. And the booing is for the UEFA Champions League anthem. That's City fans' message to UEFA. They feel they've been hard done by over the years. So the players lined up, ready to get going. What a big night this is. Surely it's going to come at some point. Surely Pep Guardiola and Manchester City simply have to win this Champions League. Every single Bayern fan has got a red and white scarf above their head. It's quite the sight in the away end. A whole stream of scarves above their heads, just to make sure everybody knows that's where we are and this is where we belong. They've been at the top table many times. So as the managers take their places in the dugout on the touchline, memories of Porto must come flooding back. Memories of defeat for Pep and City, but European glory for Tuchel and Chelsea 2 years ago. Chelsea that night stopped Pep achieving his dream with City, but others have made him cry since he arrived at City in 2016. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Lyon, Monaco, even Spurs have stopped Guardiola winning the Champions League since he took over here. He's never won it with City, just like he never won it with Bayern Munich. Is this Pep's time? First leg, live on Talksport, Manchester City against Bayern Munich with your commentary team, former England captain and City manager Stuart Pearce, alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterface.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. The annual quest for immortality begins in earnest. Pep Guardiola is more decorated than a five-star general, but as he leads his troops into battle tonight, the shadow of missteps and ambushes hangs over him. Guardiola's influence on English football, European football, is without question, but he holds himself to high standards that no one else reaches, and he will not be satisfied until he has conquered the ultimate prize. Manchester City have been neutralised by Lyon, Chelsea and Real Madrid in recent years, but City fans are starting to feel that tinkling down the spine, that this might be the year that they lift club football's greatest prize. Tonight, an old adversary leading Pep's former charges. Thomas Tuchel used to pick his brains. Guardiola is ready to pick a fight. And Tuchel is aware of the challenge. We are the underdog, he proclaimed. But it's hardly David against Goliath. One change from Manchester City's win at Southampton. Mahrez out to the bench, Bernardo Silva in. I use Bernardo for different things, says Pep. Bayern Munich without Choupo-Moting. One of two changes from the win over Freiburg at the weekend. Müller left on the bench. Thomas Tuchel said, we might start with 11, but we will finish by using them all. The referee gets us off and underway. He is Jesus Gil Manzano from Spain. The VAR is Juan Martinez. Bayern Munich in red shirts, red shorts and red socks attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. And Manchester City in their traditional light blue shirts and white shorts and blue socks attacking the goal to our right. And dancing down the left touchline really early in the game is Grealish, opening up towards the edge of the penalty area. De Bruyne joining. Across comes Rodri, tries to get involved in a fight. They win the ball back inside the Bayern Munich penalty area. It's lifted to the far post by De Bruyne, but it's over the head of Gundogan. And Ake picked it up on the left edge of the area, and Stuart Pearce. Manchester City have signalled their intent in this game very early on.
They certainly have, and it was that man Grealish who's put Bayern on the back foot straight away. A surging run down the line then inside, and that's exactly what City wanted.
It's a proper examination of Manchester City's credentials, and you always wonder how best to manage these two-legged affairs. Do you go for it from the off? Well, both teams have answered that as Alphonso Davies goes racing down the left touchline for Bayern Munich towards the edge of the area. Gnabry takes it on and moves into the box at a 45-degree angle, runs at Ruben Diaz, who in gale force wins, backs off and just times his tackle to perfection, puts it out on the near side, and it's away for a throw to Bayern Munich. 1 minute 30 seconds played, 0-0, an unbelievably fast start to proceedings.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, that space on the right hand side of the Manchester City back line, Stones going into midfield, Akanji coming across, and slightly too late on that occasion.
Stones just dropped into the back four as one of now two centre-halves with Diaz. The ball goes out towards the right-hand side. It's picked up by Coman, who tries to get the crossing, cleared away by Diaz, and then it moves out towards the far side. Collected over on the far touchline by Upamecano, who brings it forward into the midpoint of the Manchester City half, lifting it high into the air, down towards the corner flag, where Ake forages and kicks it out and away for a throw-in to Bayern. It could be that Stones is playing in a back four.
I think what's happened is there's a nuance to the way he's playing. He's been pushing Stones in from right back to play in the centre of midfield. Now he's decided I'm going to play him in there, but the quickest route back into a defensive slot will be going straight back into the heart of defence, and Akanji coming to the right.
So another little tactical tweak in a big Champions League game from Pep Guardiola. 0-0 the score. Let's see if this one works out. 2 minutes and 30 seconds played here at the Etihad Stadium. Every single shirt rippling in the wind as it gusts around the east side of Manchester. Akanji plays the ball infield to Rodri. Rodri back to Diaz. He's on the edge of his own penalty area and takes it wide to the left. You're listening to Talksport live at the Etihad Stadium with Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce, bringing you live commentary tonight of the Champions League quarter-final between Manchester City, the champions of England, and Bayern Munich, the perennial champions of Germany. Under pressure, Akanji gets it back towards his goalkeeper, who comes out. Akanji then takes emergency action and takes it away from him, sends it to Diaz, and they looked a little bit wobbly there at the back, Manchester City, as Diaz eventually clears to the far side and adds a little composure to the situation. What was the goalkeeper doing?
Well, I think the goalie's coming out and he was going to deal with the ball, but credit to Akanji, he dealt with a situation that he put himself in. And the weather really is coming in now. It's really squally showers, if that's such a word.
It is a word.
Gusty.
Don't doubt yourself. That's very much part of the meteorological vocabulary, the lexicon. Ball up to the halfway line, picked up by Grealish, who's in fantastic form, and the ball seems to be stuck to him like glue. Adrian was talking about that earlier on today, not giving it away cheaply, he either retains possession or gives away a foul. Ball sent down the right-hand side for Bernardo Silva to chase for Manchester City. He runs towards the corner flag. He's faced up by Alphonso Davies. Back to the angle of the area. Gundogan is there, and then Stones now wandering into midfield just to add an extra man, and then just hesitantly dropping back to make sure that there's cover before the ball is lifted out to the far side. And here's the enigmatic Grealish once again. Infield to De Bruyne. De Bruyne back wide again. Tight to the touchline is Grealish, and then Ake, then De Bruyne, then Rodri, and then a little bit short back to Ake, who then engages over on the far side, almost loses out to Musiala, but it's up to Haaland from De Bruyne inside the area. A left-footed drive from a tight angle by Haaland, never really going to test Jan Sommer from there, and it goes rising high above the crossbar and into the Manchester City fans behind the goal, away to our right. It's Talksport. It's Tuesday night, 5 minutes gone, 0-0.
Yeah, ludicrously optimistic there by Haaland, but with that goal record, I'm not sure anything's optimistic.
44 goals so far this season for Erling Haaland, 33 in 25 Champions League games since he first appeared in this competition. Here is Akanji on halfway for Manchester City, who have started at a high tempo. The game started at a high tempo. Everywhere you look on the field, there's quality dripping from every single angle. Gnabry shuts down Diaz. He has to go to Akanji, who used to play in the Bundesliga and will know all about the opposition tonight after his spell with Borussia Dortmund. Ball goes back to Ederson. Manchester City in a 6th consecutive quarter-final, Stuart. This is Bayern Munich's 21st appearance in the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals. Heavyweights of the competition. And it's a competition record, actually, to get to the quarter-finals on that many occasions. They've done it 2 more times than Real Madrid.
Yeah, just looking at the City back line now, they're literally man for man, 3-on-3, right across the halfway line, squeezed right on. And I think what they've got, I think Kusaki's come up for air, and he's probably on the form of his life at City, is made this tactical change that little bit easier to do. So I think he's a centre-half tucked in, or he's also a full-back out wide. It's amazing that they shape-shift the way they do. Stones now going into midfield when they've got the ball, and following Musiala around as well, making sure that when he drops deep, he's followed by Stones, almost as you say, man for man. Diaz, the deepest of the 2 centre-halves. Rodri will drop back there as well, and Ake and Akanji can stay wide. Yeah, the only thing I would say on quick turnovers, the Man City back 3 are spread, and I always never like my centre-half spread further than the width of the box. On occasion, City's 3 are. Bernardo Silva out on the right touchline, takes on Alphonso Davies, clips it down and away from him, runs towards the byline. He's not going to outpace him, so he has to check back, gives it to De Bruyne. His cross in the centre, aimed towards Gundogan, and he was leaning backwards. It hit the top of his head and went over the top of the bar. Just a little bit too high for Erling Haaland, who was darting towards the near post to get on the end of that right wing cross, which came in from De Bruyne after good work from Bernardo Silva down the right flank. And eventually it went over the top of the crossbar from the City captain Ilkay Gundogan. Yeah, Silva's not got the pace to get away from Davies, but if Davies ends up defending like that, he'll certainly skip past him comfortably. Crikey, Usain Bolt hasn't got the pace to get away from the road runner, Alphonso Davies, the Canadian international. He is lightning quick. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him when Lucas Hernandez comes back into the team after his injury. He's just started working with the ball again. Bayern Munich have certainly missed his presence. Here is Joshua Kimmich in the centre of the Bayern midfield, up towards the middle of the park, and Leroy Sané starts skating forward through the middle of the City half of the field. Out wide he goes to Coman, and then it comes back to Kimmich. Kimmich into Leon Goretzka, and then all the way back to Matthias de Ligt, who scored the winning goal at the weekend against Freiburg. An absolute rocket, and the only goal of the game. They had quite a few chances, didn't take them during that match. And certainly they don't have the out-and-out goal scorer that they've had in years gone by. Robert Lewandowski's position has been taken by Eric Choupo-Moting. I think many people would have predicted that a couple of years ago. He's not available today because of injury. Ball spread wide by Jan Sommer, who's in for Manuel Neuer, who got injured in a skiing accident after the World Cup. It's played up to Upamecano, and then infield to Goretzka. Wide it goes to Leroy Sané now. Hair tied back, pinned back in a ponytail. He lays the ball back into midfield, and
Alphonso Davies sends it wide again. Bernardo Silva goes up to his former teammate, and then Rodri robs him, and Bernardo Silva brings it away. And he gets away from Sane. He's chopped down by Kimmich, and Kimmich got the ball according to the Spanish referee, and it goes all the way back via De Ligt to Jan Sommer, and then it will be cleared away by Bayern Munich. Early test of the referee's threshold. And there's another one with Manuel Akanji bouncing into Jamal Musiala. He goes up in the air and comes crash landing down to earth. And it's a free kick tight to the touchline on this near side. 0-0.
Yep, two really good decisions by the referee there. Silva made great ground with the ball, kept it really tight to him, but it's a very slick tackle on the recovery. And Akanji there certainly adjudged to have fouled, and that was the correct decision. And at this moment in time, we talked about Davies potentially getting forward. It's Silva, Bernardo Silva, that's pegged him back in many ways.
Well, Bayern Munich's journey to the quarterfinals has been harder than any team left in the competition. Inter, Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain among the teams the Bavarians have swept aside to set up tonight's last 8 encounter. And their record speaks for itself. 8 wins in 8 games, 21 scored, only 2 conceded. Here on the far side is Coman, trying to bring the ball down in the City area. It's half cleared, comes back to the edge of the box. Kimmich sets it up for Davies, who strikes left-footed through the penalty area. It's about 9 or 10 yards wide of Ederson's left-hand upright when it eventually crosses the byline away to our left-hand side. It wasn't a clean strike at all from a man who has scored 3 goals this season.
Really poor, I think, from that situation. He's pulled it badly when he probably should have slid one out to Sane outside him.
City playing out from the back under pressure from a high press that Thomas Tuchel loves to employ. City get away with it, move it out towards the left. Ake up down the touchline looking for Grealish, who's fouled on the far side by Leon Goretzka, who has the second most assists in the Champions League this season. And the man who has the most assists also plays for Bayern Munich, but he managed them all with Manchester City. João Cancelo on the bench tonight. Thomas Tuchel said, actually, you know, he talked about his sleepless nights worrying about how he was going to deal with Manchester City. Last night he said he slept quite well, actually, but he did wake up thinking about João Cancelo or Benjamin Pavard. Should I get him in the team? Thomas Müller or Jamal Musiala or Serge Gnabry? Nice problems to have, I think.
At this standard, you would expect that, I suppose. Quarterfinals of the Champions League. There's some brilliant squads around Europe, Sam.
It is 2 titans of the tactics, but it's slightly unequal. Guardiola's been here in Manchester for 7 years. Tuchel's been at Bayern for around about 7 days. It's going to take a long time to get used to one another. Here's Rodri, just inside his the right side of the City half. He plays it forward to Gundogan, guided back to Nathan Ake. And then with the rain still teeming down and the wind just occasionally getting up and whipping around this beautiful 50,000-seater stadium, Ake brings it down and sends it back to his goalkeeper Ederson, who is in no hurry to get the ball forward. We did have about 10 minutes of breathless action, and City have just tried to slow that down. Akanji putting his foot on the accelerator, goes down the right touchline, tries to play the ball inside the fullback Alphonso Davies and find Bernardo Silva. Couldn't do that. And Bayern come away with the ball. City keep hold of it well. Good little nudge from Stones under pressure finds Rodri, and City get out the other side with Ake. On the left now, over the halfway line is Gundogan. On to Grealish, a little bump pass into De Bruyne, who then teases it down the touchline. Too heavy for Grealish to chase, but he'll go down there foraging anyway. Across goes the defender, gets the better of him. It's turned away into the path of Upamecano. Gets it back to his goalkeeper Sommer, who clears. Very good with his feet, Sommer. And it's cleared up to the middle of the Bayern half, and City win it back again. High inside opposition territory. Now Diaz skates down the left side of the centre circle, switches the play from the middle out to the right. It's brought down by Bernardo Silva, faced up by Alphonso Davies. He's on the angle of the penalty area, weaving one way then the other. Gundogan's out there for company if he wants to use him. He goes towards the byline, chops back, twists again, gets to the byline, low cross into the box, dealt with by Kimmich and sent out towards this near side. Back it comes towards Sane. Sane tries to take on Akanji, wins it back, and now Bernardo Silva gets bumped to the floor by Musiala. Referee says play on, and again high threshold, a little bit more contact than is usual, and then Sommer tries to distribute the ball from inside his 6-yard box. He's shut down by Haaland, And Sommer has to kick the ball out towards the far side because he almost got crunched by Haaland and taken into the net with the ball and the rest of his body.
Well, I've got to say, Sam, the technical level of this standard of the game is brilliant, but the game will hinge on how much effort you put into certain things and the physicality side of it as well. We saw Silva getting shot out of a cannon with a body check a minute ago, and then Haaland tracked the goalkeeper down and was so unfortunate not to get a deflection into the net.
Well, Jan Sommer's having a couple of those wobbly moments over the course of his Bayern career. You know, he was a Borussia Mönchengladbach player for 8 years before turning up here to replace Manuel Neuer because he had that skiing accident. Challenged from behind by Grealish over on the far side on Coman. Has yielded a free kick over on the far side. Joshua Kimmich is going over to protest, and Grealish is having words spoken to him by the Spanish referee. It was a little bit clumsy, that, from Jack Grealish. But Sommer actually a couple of times over the course of his very short Bayern Munich career has just had those moments. He's excellent with his feet, but goalkeepers for Bayern Munich are expected to do things that other goalkeepers really aren't, and taking the ball right to your goal line in the middle of your goal mouth and trying to play from there is probably not advisable when you've got Haaland bearing down on you.
Well, I think it's only Haaland and his range and his pace, when his eyes lit up when he thought, hang on a minute, I could get on the end of this and get a block on. He just covered the ground and cut the goalkeeper's ground down so quickly.
16 minutes gone. Manchester City 0, Bayern Munich 0, live on Talksport. And the rain teeming down from the sky relentlessly as the ball's picked up in the centre circle by Jamal Musiala, a German international, former England under-21 international. He gets the return, but Bernardo Silva takes it off, and then Akanji dives in with a tackle on Davis, and then the ball goes out on this near side and away for a throw into Bayern, deep down inside City territory. Back to De Ligt it goes. He's just short of the centre circle. Plays it square, and it's with Upamecano. Upamecano back to the far side where Benjamin Pavard looks a little bit stronger and more muscular than he did just before the World Cup. He didn't have a particularly good time at the World Cup. He ended up falling out with Didier Deschamps, and I think he played in the first game but then was hardly seen after that. Here is Joshua Kimmich over on the far side, playing the ball out towards the wide right position. It's picked up by Kimmich once again, and then back in field. There's a goal in the game between England's Lionesses and Australia down at Brentford's GTEC Stadium. And watching for us is Talksport's Baker Others.
It's England 0, Australia 1, and who else but Chelsea's Sam Kerr against the run of play chipped the ball over Mary Earps to give Australia the lead. England 0, Australia 1.
Kingsley Coman coming down the right hand side. It's set up for Gnabry on the edge of the area, then back to Musiala, who's quick feet, manages to rebuttal the ball out towards Davis. Now it's on to Sane, left-footed drive is blocked by Akanji. It goes into the air and it's cleared away to the right touchline, and he puts it out for a throw. Well, Serena Wiegman did say she wanted a test down at the GTEC Community Stadium tonight, and she certainly got one. They're 1-0 down here, it's 0-0 here, and City are getting a test as well.
They are, as I say, it's Bernardo Silva out of possession, just tucking inside slightly, and it's just allowing a bit of space for Davis and Sane, as we expected, just to edge forward. But I've got to say, Bernardo Silva's been absolutely magnificent in the opposition's half. Yeah. His ability on the ball, he looks like a 12-year-old out there soaking wet, don't he, and skinny little legs, but my God, what a professional.
He's just gone into a tackle with Alphonso Davis. City just about keeping hold of possession. I think they've had the upper hand in the game up until this point. We played 18 minutes, but no real chances, no clear-cut chances for either team. The best chance for Manchester City when Haaland went hunting as the goalkeeper tried to clear from his goal line, and the best chance for Bayern Munich when Alphonso Davis dragged a shot wide from the edge of the 18-yard box. But it's Manchester City 0, Bayern Munich 0, and you're listening to Talksport live at the Etihad Stadium, a very unseasonable Etihad Stadium. I actually am quite surprised just how bad the weather is here in April. It is absolutely, I mean, it's winter weather, isn't it? It's very much like the heart of November. Here on the far side, the ball is with Coman being tracked and hunted and harassed by Ake, drags him to the floor, free kick, 10 yards inside City's half on the wide right. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, certainly looks as though I'm going to have to put some more blue tack underneath my wig to hold it on going back to the car park, Samuel, after the game, if this weather keeps up.
You could have one of those little headbands that you so dislike.
Well, I might go and borrow the big man's Grealish to get me home. But what a game. I tell you what, at this moment in time, it is literally a game of chess. Both teams probing each other out, looking for those weaknesses, looking for that little drop of something. And that's all it is, such small margins at this sort of level.
Rodri clips the ball high into the air. It falls at the feet of Jack Grealish, who brings it down, gives it back to Ake. Ake wanders centrally and then with a big, long, raking pass tries to find Bernardo Silva. It's too heavy and goes behind and out away for a throw-in on this near side. Bayern Munich had enjoyed a perfect Champions League campaign under Julian Nagelsmann, but the club made a change at what was a crucial time, and it has been a mixed start for Thomas Tuchel, and there's pressure for Tuchel to justify the big change. Even he said himself, I wasn't expecting the contact.
Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
Here is Akanji on the right-hand side. He's moving to the midpoint of the Bayern half. He goes wide out towards the slender figure of Bernardo Silva. On the overlap is De Bruyne in towards that near post, looking for Gundogan. Across comes Kimmich and gets in front of him, just in front of the foot of the post, and puts it out and away for a corner. Tuchel going mad on the touchline, trying to get his team's blood up.
Yeah, good interchange there. Silva, fantastic little hitch kick to put De Bruyne in. And his near post cross just cut out.
You just spotted something tactically. We'll get back to that in just a second. But De Bruyne is about to take the corner kick from the wide right position for Manchester City. 0-0 the score. It's a deep one, a high one towards the far post. Grealish waiting out there. Will keep hold of that, and then they'll send it back down towards Bernardo Silva. Still space for De Bruyne. Oh dear. And it's overhit by Bernardo Silva, and it goes racing out of play down by the corner flag. So what did you spot?
Yeah, a couple of things. First off, on Grealish just then, far post corner arrived at Grealish's feet. He holds it. I think last year he attempts to take people on there and might have lost it in a really bad position. He didn't do that. Two touch, kept it to a teammate in a better position. That's Grealish. Secondly, Tuchel was out in his technical area. He had a throw into our right hand side, Bayern's left back area, and he's screaming at Coman to come in and get around
Gundogan into Grealish. He's got Haaland on the edge of the area. Left-footed drive, first time straight down the throat of Jan Sommer. He could have had a touch there and drove it into the penalty area. Instead of that, he decided to snapshot it on the edge of the box, Erling Haaland. He got a little bit excited and he didn't get the requisite power.
I tell you what, the ball was under his feet when he's decided to take it on, and he had to take a touch to get it out of his feet and just open the goal up for a curler or close your foot and go the opposite corner.
Good chance for Haaland. Here come Bayern at the other end with Zane racing in between the two central defenders. It's cleared away by City, high into the air, stabbed by Rodri. Upamecano goes across and just allows the ball to go out of play and away for a throw. So many intriguing matchups tonight. Haaland against Upamecano, De Ligt in there as well, who's sort of grown in stature over the last few weeks. He's certainly a lot more vocal and showing those leadership qualities that weren't necessarily apparent when he walked into a rather intimidating Juventus dressing room a few years ago. And it'll be fascinating to see how they deal with Kevin De Bruyne tonight. Joshua Kimmich probably responsible for that.
Yeah, just saying about Tuchel's body language. They're calling Coman in from the other side. When City press high, he wants him to come in because City are leaving 1-on-1, 2-on-2 in and around the halfway line.
And those inverted wingers certainly getting involved narrowly. Here is Sane sending it out wide towards Coman, who comes back in, then goes outside, back in on his left foot, then back out on his right, trying to twist the blood of Ake. Ended up falling out of the perimeter of the playing surface himself because of the diligent work from Nathan Ake. And it's cleared eventually out for a throw-in over on the far side.
I'll tell you what, Ake is a totally different player to that first season when he come to Manchester City. You know, I weren't sure whether this was too big for him when he first come. This is the form of his life, playing where he is at the moment in a slightly wider area, playing at full-back. His body language, he was so in command of that situation then on a one-on-one with a very, very good winger.
So what's happened? Good coaching? Maturity?
I think there's a lot of self-confidence in there. He stands on his feet, he uses his body really well, he watches the ball. I think there's a multitude of things. Sometimes you mature into the role, Sam, as well as a defender.
0-0 live on Talksport. It's the Champions League live with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest. And Manchester City have had a couple of half chances, good chances in this first half, but they're yet to breach Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, who have only conceded twice all the season in the Champions League, those 2 goals being scored by Victoria Pilsen, of all people. Here is Musiala, left side of the Manchester City half, into the wing position, and Alphonso Davies, who's moved up from left back. Coman into Sane, very tight and congested on the edge of the City penalty area. City defending in numbers here, everyone behind the ball as Kimmich sends the ball wide towards the right hand side. Pavard trying to keep it alive under pressure from Grealish, goes down and the ball flies out over on the far side, away for a goal kick away to our left hand side. City have won their last 9 home games and they've been ramping up their scoring ability recently. They've bagged 39 goals in their last 12 games in all competitions, Stuart.
That's quite impressive. So it's fair to say they've got a goal or 2 in them tonight. And just looking at both teams, I think once they both get in the final third of the opposition's half, City look the more slicker with the ball. I think Bayern have been decent, had good positions in the final third, but the interchange between them has not been as good as I've seen from City, I don't think.
Benfica 0, Inter Milan 0, over on Talksport 2 with Danny Mills and Ian Danter right now. If you want to listen to Talksport 2, download our app. You can flick between the 2 stations. And you can also get some great podcasts on there as well. Listen back to some of the shows. And you can also catch up on your favourite Talksport 2 shows as Sane manages to skip past 2 challenges, gets the ball back to the edge of the area. Musiala with a strike, blocked by Diaz on the edge of the 6-yard box and cleared away for Manchester City. That was a big let-off for Manchester City, and Ruben Diaz was essential to stopping that from being a certain goal. Musiala with a strike.
Well, I just talked about slickness in the final third, and Bayern demonstrated they've got slickness of their own just then. Brilliant movement, Sane pulled back and then the strike, and Diaz has done brilliantly to get a block on that.
That's the best work move of the game from Bayern Munich, who coming down the right with Coman. He sends a cross from the right side deep through the penalty area. It floats out the other side and goes out for a throw-in about 10 yards short of the penalty area. And it's going to be Akanji for Manchester City to take it. City haven't lost since Tottenham nicked a win on February the 5th. And everyone knows they're capable of going on long unbeaten runs. They haven't lost any of their last 24 Champions League home games. They know how to get the job done here, Manchester City. They don't often come up against tests like this. Sane weaving his way past 3 challenges, then running into Diaz, who just about dispossesses him. And now City on the counter-attack. The ball's picked up by De Bruyne. He's just over the halfway line on the left side. He plays it out to Grealish. Grealish then comes infield and gives it to Gundogan. Gundogan with Rodri available in space inside Bayern territory. Wide on the right is Bernardo Silva. He takes the ball onto the edge of the penalty area. He's got Davies for company, and across comes Goretzka as well. He's got to release it here to Stones, and he eventually does that, so he had to go backwards rather than forwards. Bernardo Silva's got it back again. City got to be patient. Rodri in a bit of space, under pressure, gets the ball onto his left foot. He's going to drive the ball towards the far corner, and he's going to pick out the far corner with a stunning strike. A goal worthy of a Champions League quarter-final. It lights up the Etihad. It's an unbelievable goal from Rodri. A punishing finish, getting it out of his feet, 25 yards from goal, and arcing the ball into the top corner. Jan Sommer had no chance. Manchester City strike first in the Champions League quarter-final. It's City 1, Bayern 0.
Well, Tuchel's furious with his midfield and his central defender for not coming out and getting closer to this. He's done brilliant though, I've got to say. He's opened the goal up and we're right behind it, and you can tell he's looking to use the body of the Bayern back line to curl it round, and that is absolute brilliance. It's not going in the goal until probably the last couple of yards, then a natural curve on the ball, maybe a bit of wind as well. It's just turned it into the far corner. Brilliant goal.
That was delicious. Feast your eyes on that. It's a wonderful strike from Rodri. No wonder he went knee sliding across the greasy turf in front of the City fans away to our right. He earned the celebration. He milked the celebration. He probably couldn't stop himself, the adrenaline flowing through his veins after what was a stunner, an absolute corker. His third goal of the season. And Pep Guardiola delighted with that breakthrough. Goals in this competition, not easy to come by. And that is the first goal that Bayern Munich have conceded in the Champions League since they led in 2 against Victoria Pilsen. Inter couldn't score against them. Barcelona couldn't score against them. PSG couldn't score against them. But Manchester City have.
It'll be interesting now to see the psychological effect that'll have on the Bayern team. I thought before that, probably the 5 minutes prior to that, Sam, they were as strong as they have been.
Ball flashed into the box from a tight angle by De Bruyne. It sort of came out of nowhere. Ake's kept it alive. Maybe used his hand as he did so. That's going to be a free kick to Bayern Munich, whose fans, I must say, have responded terrifically to them going behind. They're bouncing up and down over on the far side, all on their feet, banners waving, songs still being sung, and they're on 3 different tiers, all above one another, in a slender strip of the stand away to our right-hand side, going up into the sky, and they are all milking the occasion. They know how difficult this game is going to be, and they also know that there's still a very, very long way to go, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, there certainly is. As I say, it's the first blow of a long campaign, but certainly, my goodness, what a blow it was. It was an absolute wonderful finish. Certainly worthy of this stage of a Champions League game for sure.
Yeah, but always going to score tonight, Manchester City. Only 2 teams have stopped them from doing so all season. Ball sent wide down the left as Coman, who's come out towards this near side now, tries to take on Akanji. He moves towards the edge of the area, then goes back and tries to go on his left foot outside Akanji, who does well to hold him up. He goes back to Davis, and Bayern is still in possession midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. De Ligt under pressure from De Bruyne. Haaland now hunting down Upamecano, whose ball is wayward and picked off by Grealish, who skips away from Gnabry, moves towards the midpoint of the opposition half. Haaland keeps it alive, picked up by De Bruyne. De Bruyne edge of the area, tries to squeeze it through to Grealish, inside the box, tees it up for no one in particular because Haaland hadn't got there yet, and it was a little bit wafty from Jack Grealish. Needed more accuracy and purposefulness on the ball when he got there on the left-hand side, and the move breaks down from Manchester City.
Yeah, I think when it arrived at his feet, Sam, I thought the goal was gaping for him to have a go, but I think the angle was probably tighter than we actually thought it was.
Well, I have to look at Thomas Tuchel and wonder how he is so slender. And then I watch him in the technical area over the course of 90 minutes, and I know exactly how, because he probably burns off about 7,000 calories jumping up and down, getting really animated, squeezing his fists together. He's been up and down from his dugout throughout the course of the opening 32 minutes. He's been ferocious. And here comes Gundogan through the middle of the pitch, a long straight ball which is sent in by Akanji, picked off by Sommer and cleared away by Bayern Munich. I mean, it's a great tactical battle, this, isn't it?
It's magnificent. It really is. The finite little movements from each of the players. John Stones' position in and out. You know, Akanji's probably played most of the game as almost a right back, and Stones operating from that midfield area, dropping back into the back line to make a 4 on occasion.
1-0 to Manchester City in the quarter-final. Goretzka takes the ball down the left side of the City half. He finds Alphonso Davies in the wing position. Across comes Akanji. Akanji doesn't do enough to influence it. The ball goes infield. Goretzka now gives it to Kimmich. Kimmich eyeing up a chance. He clips the ball over the top for Sane, but well read by Nathan Ake, who just steps across and prods the ball out with his head towards the far side, and Grealish receives it for Manchester City. They look to build the play quickly. De Bruyne into Haaland, halfway now, squeezing between a tight gap. Referee says play on because Grealish has got the ball, and Haaland, who was sandwiched between Upamecano and Goretzka, then just bounced straight back up again and went charging through the middle of the pitch. He wanted to get on with it as well. Akanji. Again, the rain teems and squalls around the Etihad Stadium. Welcome to Manchester. Rodri back to Diaz. Diaz moving up towards the halfway line. It's square to Akanji now. And Coman has come out towards this right-hand side now. De Bruyne has gone beyond him into the right-wing position. His cross takes a huge deflection into the air. Goalkeeper's misjudged it. Comes back out to Gundogan. And the goalkeeper somehow managed to get up to make a stunning save. It goes out for a corner. Well, Grealish, I think, got taken out by Jan Sommer. And Thomas Tuchel is complaining it was the other way round inside the 6-yard box as that cross came in. The two of them certainly collided as they went for the ball. Anyway, somehow as the ball dropped for Gundogan, he was 8 yards out. He struck it firmly towards goal, and it was stopped magnificently by Jan Sommer's outstretched left foot.
I tell you what, the goalkeeper's pirouetted as he's got two hands to it. As he's pirouetted and landed on the floor, he's just got that left leg up, hasn't he, Sam, and just deflected it over the top.
It was a stunning save by Jan Sommer. 35 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0. Corner by De Bruyne in towards the near post, right under the goalkeeper's completely missed it. Haaland at the far post sends it centrally. It lands inside the 6-yard box. They can't get it down, Manchester City. It's bouncing around inside the box. Eventually it's half cleared by Upamecano out towards the near side. Silva keeps hold of it. Diaz clips his heels and finds Bernardo Silva. It's played against Alphonso Davies. Accusations of handball. It's all very tight in the left full-back position. Eventually Bayern Munich managed to get out, and then Gnabry switches the play. 50-yard raking pass out towards the far side. Sane takes it on now, moves towards the edge of the box, cuts infield, needs a bit of support, gets it from Kimmich. Right-footed shot, which is blocked by the furthest player back, Jack Grealish. Back on the left-hand side, it's picked up by Musiala, twisting and turning, trying to get beyond Rodri, who takes the ball off him, pinches it, plays it against his shins, and will go off to the G-Tech Stadium for a breather and half-time for Faker others.
Yeah, wet and windy here as well, the conditions playing a part. Sam Kerr with the only goal of the game so far. It's England 0, Australia 1. It was a mistake from captain Leo Williamson, didn't deal with the ball over the top, and Sam Kerr, the Chelsea star, doesn't miss from there. England are getting bullied by a really physical side and looking sloppy as a result, and Sarina Wiegman's 30-game unbeaten run is under threat. At half-time, it's England 0, Australia 1.
Keep you in touch with that throughout the course of the evening here on Talksport. It remains 1-0 there and 1-0 here to Manchester City in the quarter-finals of the Champions League against Bayern Munich, who have the ball inside City territory. Just left of centre is Leon Goretzka. He lays it back to Matthijs de Ligt under pressure from Haaland, and then all the way back to Upamecano inside the centre circle.
Sam, the previous attack, and this might be the difference between City of years gone by in the Champions League and City now. They got countered. Bayern ended up getting in the right-hand side, and by the time they got to the edge of the box, in and around the box, it was 3 Bayern players up and around, with 7 or 8 City players back in attendance that quickly. It was incredible recovery runs by the players.
City have won their last 8 games in all competitions. Maybe that is why. The last team they failed to beat were a German team, RB Leipzig, in the second leg of their absolute thrashing in the last round of this competition. And they've scored 31 goals and conceded just 3 in that time. Make that 32. They lead by a goal to 0 here. De Bruyne trying to skate forward over on the far side, under pressure. He was being targeted by Benjamin Pavard, and he clipped his heels from behind, and the free kick is given about 6 or 7 yards left of the centre circle, well inside Bayern Munich territory. 8 minutes before half-time. A game of incredibly high quality from 2 really top-level teams, at the moment separated by an incredible goal.
I think City, I wouldn't say as in years gone by, they look at a tougher prospect now, I think. And what I'm seeing at the moment with this performance against a very good Bayern side, I don't know, they just look as though they've got know-how, confidence, tactical nous, the whole lot, the whole package looks in place.
De Bruyne takes the free kick. He drives it forward. It's very high, but Akanji manages to take it out of the sky and keep it alive. Stones drifts it to the far post, looking for Diaz. Comes down towards Rodri, away by Pavard, and manages to hook it into the evening sky. It bounces on the floor. Water splashes up around the Champions League ball, because there's so much water on the pitch because of the relentless rain that we've had in this first half. And a free kick is given to Bayern Munich midway inside their own territory. What will Pep Guardiola have thought of the opening 38 minutes of this game?
I think he'd be delighted. The one thing I would say is Bayern have got forward and got in and around the last third on a few occasions, quite a few occasions, let's say. But they failed to create anything from it. If I was Davis for Bayern, I would say, listen, Silva's got me a little bit. I can't take the ball off him. He's that good with the ball. I'm going to have to keep galloping forward now and put him on his back foot a little bit.
Bayern Munich had a free kick after a foul by Gundogan. They've tried to take it 3 times, but from the wrong position, and the Spanish referee has been pretty pedantic about that. They are back underway, and they're moving the ball down the right side. And Sane trying to take on Ake, and it comes into midfield for Kimmich. Interesting, it didn't take long for Thomas Tuchel to abandon those inverted wingers and go back to more traditional types and switch Coman and Sane out to their what would be perceived as their natural positions. Here is Upamecano into Sane. Sane now in a central position, trying to release Kingsley Coman on the edge of the box. He had a little bit of space, threatened to shoot. Sane now on the edge of the D, trying to take on Rodri. Rodri pinches it, comes back to Kimmich, right side. Lots of people in the box for Bayern. The cross is deep from Pavard, but the City line was held well. Comes out to Musiala, now to De Ligt. 10 yards short of the penalty area, down the left side for Coman. Coman tries to get it away from Akanji, sliding in was Bernardo Silva. Still Coman has it, takes it on the outside. Akanji, brilliant slide tackle. A telescopic left leg comes out and prods the ball away for a corner to Bayern Munich with 5 minutes to go before half time.
Yeah, he's the one defender that's had a lot being asked of him at the moment, Akanji, and he's come up and he's matched it in the main pretty well.
1-0 to Manchester City, would be 2-0 if it hadn't been for Jan Sommer's excellent reactions with his left leg to keep out a Gundogan effort. Here is the corner, away to our left to be taken by Joshua Kimmich. Right hand in the air, delivered in towards the far post. Attacking it is De Ligt at the far post. Good strong header away, only as far as Musiala, who gets to the byline, produces a ball into the back edge of the penalty area, but Gundogan's there and he swipes it away to safety for Manchester City, who lead by a goal to 0. What a breathless first 41 minutes of this game we've had so far. And we've got the second leg to come live on Talksport. One of 60 games in April. A delay for De Ligt, who's just pulled up lame inside the centre circle, just outside the centre circle in City territory. He's going to need treatment. So many games of football to bring you over the course of the next few weeks on Talksport. Real Madrid against Chelsea tomorrow is a huge, huge game. Massive for Frank Lampard. Can he get Chelsea fit and firing for that one after what was a rather timid display against Wolverhampton Wanderers? Thursday night, West Ham take on Genk in the Europa Conference League. Saturday, more live football for you. Game day returns. Sunday we're around the grounds, including the FA Cup semi-final. The Women's FA Cup semi-final between Aston Villa and Manchester United. That's live on Talksport. And we're looking forward to that. And then Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, we've got loads of football for you on the Talksport network. Next week we're going to Munich, aren't we, together?
We certainly are.
Are we sharing bunk beds or something like that?
I think so. You want top or bottom?
Oh, I'll go bottom. You're on top, definitely. Yeah, you're always the...
At my age, I'm not sure I can
charge.
get up there unless they got a robust Stanner stair lift to get me up.
Well, we can switch if you want. I don't mind, you know. Wooden ladders, always difficult though for me. My knees are a bit dodgy. Off comes De Ligt. His knees are a little bit dodgy as well. And it's going to be a reset. The referee just taking the ball into the Manchester City half of the field for an uncontested drop ball away to our right-hand side.
Yeah, just to coin the phrase of a German ex-player, I think he's having troubles with his hands crankle. De Ligt.
Is that what it is? His ankle rather than his
yeah, I think so.
knee. Yeah, he's just having a little bit of extra treatment on that. He wants to get back to his feet. And the last thing they want is another injured defender, with Luca Hernandez being out for as long as he has been. Oh, Upamecano almost wandered into Haaland. Not something you want to do on a dark night in Manchester. The ball given away. Stones turns it over. It's up towards Gundogan, and then it's played out towards the far side. Intervention comes from Pavard. He scoops the ball forward. Chasing it is Gnabry. Across comes Diaz. Brilliant defending, and cleared away by the Portuguese up to the halfway line. Taken in superbly by De Bruyne under pressure. Grealish, with 3 red shirts around him, uses it brilliantly.
Now, how they've retained that ball, I'll never know. Literally, Diaz come across, swept things up, going nowhere, you thought, just give it back the opposition. They've retained it brilliantly.
Stones wandering out from midfield, almost gave it away and did, and then gives it straight to Gnabry, and Goretzka sends them away. Gnabry out towards Koeman. Koeman on the left-hand side, trying to take on Akanji, but he's stronger, faster, more muscular, and he just brushes him aside and clears from the right fullback position. Haaland goes in on Matthijs de Ligt, and the free kick is given against him. I think the City fans were
theatrical that was, to say the least.
It was so theatrical, he's just been nominated for a BAFTA.
What are those worst BAFTAs you get? Are they raspberries or something like that?
Rotten Tomatoes, aren't they? Is that something like that? There's a website about Rotten Tomatoes, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. Golden raspberries, it's been whispered in my ear, is that right?
Golden raspberry. We'll go with that anyway.
Yeah. So you
Razzies.
The Razzies, yeah, something like that. And we're not experts in that field. We're not expected to know that stuff. Here is Gundogan moving up towards the halfway line for Manchester City. 1-0 the score as we approach half-time. It's been such a breathless first 45 minutes. I just looked down at my notepad and realised I haven't even looked at the statistics in that first 45 minutes. It's been such a brilliant first half of football. Such high quality. It played such a level and tempo and intensity. It's been brilliant to watch. And the versatility of Manchester City, the way they move in and out of positions depending on the phases of possession of the football, has been terrific, hasn't it?
It is. Both what they've done going forward and defensively as well, City, and they've been asked the odd question as well. Bayern have got in advanced areas on a few occasions. The block by Diaz was really, really important, but they've got this early, well, I wouldn't say early goal, but they've got this goal, the first blood in the double leg tie, and he'll look to go on and probably extend their lead if they possibly can.
Musiala trying to turn or get away from Grealish, who's won it back for Manchester City on the halfway line. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil. Benfica nil, Inter Milan nil on Talksport 2. England 1-0 down in the Women's Friendly International at the GTEC Community Stadium. They're the latest scores for you tonight. It's been a fascinating first half of football. Manchester City starting to just flex their muscles here. Here's De Bruyne picking the ball up in the number 10 position, finding Gundogan, who almost lost it, back towards De Bruyne, and a brilliant steer away from Pavard, who followed the run of the Belgian just about. It was just a little bit behind Gundogan, but he made the best of it. Couldn't quite feed De Bruyne, and now Bayern Munich go on the charge at the other end. 1-0 the score to City. Ball dripped towards the far post looking for Goretzka. Away by Nathan Ake, and it's picked up by Grealish and taken to the far touchline. He eventually loses out to Pavard. Pavard now in the right wing position, and Sane now picks it up and tries to shoot from distance, and boy did he shoot from distance. It whistled past the right hand upright, and you always know the quality of the shot if the goalkeeper starts to panic, and Ederson certainly did.
City so rarely give it away, even in tight positions. Like we've just seen, really tight at the back. You think just get it forward. Oh no, they played all through the thirds and nearly got in at one end. But the other side of that is, because they rarely give it away, when Grealish did give it away from about 40 yards out there, Pep dropped to his knees because he knew his teams were expanded to play and there could be a problem.
Well, a German club have only inflicted defeat on City in Manchester once in their history. That was Bayern back in 2013. It's not something they want to repeat. What a terrific first half. What a wonderful goal from Rodri that separates the two at the break. It's Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0.
Echo that, Sam. I'm in awe of these players. When you look at the conditions, let me describe it. The rain is teeming down, but it's swirling around almost like it's hovering above the pitch. It's that wet and that windy here in Manchester, and yet both sets of players have come up with 45 brilliant minutes of football, the quality of which I don't think I've seen for quite a long time. I'm talking, Stuart Pearce, about the technical ability, considering the conditions, the technical ability, the speed of thought of the players, the speed of the feet of the players, the control, the mastery of the football, the passing, everything about that first half. I thought that was 10 out of 10, absolutely magnificent, not just from City, but from Bayern as well.
I've got to totally agree with you, Aid. there's not enough superlatives to say what these boys out there, all 22 of them, been absolutely magnificent, even in situations on the pitch. And City are brilliant at it. You think it's tight, don't give it away there, and they play out and go and create something up the other end of the pitch, and you think it's just absolutely magnificent football, and both teams are at it. You know, it's such a high standard.
And 1-0 is definitely, it gives you a chance scoreline as far as Bayern are concerned. So City still with work to do, but let's talk about that goal. You know what I loved about the goal? Yeah, the finish is fantastic. There's no doubt about that. But just before, he's on the edge of the box, Rodri. He receives the ball. It feels like he doesn't know there's a Bayern player right behind him. And yet, is suddenly somebody hits him in the back and he's like, well, whatever, and just shifts the ball onto his left foot. And he's absolutely fine, so calm. He didn't panic at all, even though there was somebody right in his back. He thought, no, I'm fine, I've got the ball, slams it into the top corner.
I think what happens is they scan, good players scan way before we follow the ball, so we're looking at the ball. When the ball gets played into him, that's the first time he's in our eye line, and we look at him and we think he hasn't looked. But he's looked when the ball was probably at Silva's feet potentially, or De Bruyne's feet, probably 2 or 3 passes before it actually arrives at him. And that's what good players do. Their spatial awareness is magnificent. And once he got the turn and the defender has not come out and got down the line of a curler, basically the defender's just going to be there as a blind spot for the goalkeeper. Great finish.
Yeah, and you and I are both rugby league fans. You got your Warrington Wolves top on tonight. There's a rugby league bit of commentary that always sticks with me, and it applies to a lot of sports. And it was 2 commentators talking about a halfback who seemed to have all the time in the world. One commentator said, how has he got that much time? The other guy said, it's because he takes his time, and that's exactly what Rodri did there.
Exactly. As I say, once he's got the turn on, as I say, ball into his feet, he's got the turn on, and he's opened the goal up at that stage. But once he's done that, he's steadied himself, he's got it right. He thought, I don't have to hit this too hard. The conditions tonight will do the business for me. The wind will bring it back in slightly. All I've got to do is set it outside. Basically what you do in those situations, you aim for the post, and you know full well the natural curl's going to bring it inside the post.
Talk defensively about Manchester City as well, because you talked highly of Ake in that first half. He played really well. John Stones did his bit defensively as well. Akanji, I thought, was a massive, an important physical presence. There was a great block from Diaz. There was a great block from Grealish towards the end of the half as well.
Yeah, there's an expectation, I think, with this City team to defend out of possession. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be overcritical here or not, but I always felt as though certainly it was all about how many goals we can score going forward. It was brilliant. I'm talking Champions League now. Tonight I'm seeing a Manchester City performance that says we're going to go forward and we're going to do all the things that make us brilliant. But when we lose it, we've got to keep the ball out of our goal. And that's really impressed me tonight as much as anything.
You know what, there's a touch of PSG about that. In their league, generally speaking, they kind of blow teams away and they're not battle hardened for the Champions League.
Yep.
Is there a possibility that City could fall into that a little bit, because they've just hammered Southampton away? It was relatively straightforward. It is about the goal difference being improved in the end, and then they've got to come into this, which is a completely different opposition, way better. They look mentally like they're prepared. Pep has prepared them very well, and they've got to be doing that from now through to the end of the campaign, when they'll be hoping they're lifting the trophy.
Yeah, and as you rightly say, it's not easy to do. You come out of one game where you think it's been really comfortable, it's been a cakewalk, and you can be forgiven to get into bad habits potentially. But City certainly haven't done that. They've taken this game for what it is. It's a top quality Champions League game. You've got to be at your best to even get on top of it and hopefully come out as victors at the end of the night. But there's still a lot of football to play, I think, in this game, and Bayern certainly have got the players, the ability to certainly hurt City if they're not careful.
Hans Krankel, Austrian, by the way.
My mistake.
I thought I'd throw that in there.
No, indeed. I like to be corrected whenever I get things wrong with you, so I thank you for that. How am I going to learn otherwise?
You're listening to Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18+. Be gambleaware.org. Second half to come. And at half-time, Manchester City lead thanks to a brilliant goal. Rodri's first ever Champions League goal. It's been a cracking first half. It was an even better strike from Rodri.
Champions League live on Talksport with Till, the payment provider from NatWest. See if you could save with simple fees for businesses. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
Whether you're searching for the latest consoles or retro games, wherever your passion takes you, Visa Secure Technology keeps your payments safe. Visa, how you pay matters.
Introducing McDonald's Winning Sips. With millions of prizes to be won, like a McDonald's Strawberry Milkshake, a Big Mac, a pair of McDonald's socks. Hold on, £100 in cash. Bloomin' heck, that's 10 grand. Y'all ready for this? Play McDonald's Winning Sips on medium or large soft drinks. Peel your cup, try your luck. Promotional drinks only. Ends 25th of April. App registration may be required. 18 plus, UK only. T's and C's apply.
Let me ask you something. Toast or a bagel? Come on, toast or a bagel? Seriously, toast or a bagel? Come on, get on board. New York Bakery Co. bagels are generous, dense, chewy, and delicious. So enough already. Here's to our bagel, the toast of New York. And remember, it's New York or nothing.
/Bolt claim or text claim to 82727.
If parking is an issue or you just want to get ahead, with Screwfix Sprint, we'll deliver what you need in 60 minutes or less. We've over 9,500 products available. There's no minimum spend, and you can track your order right to your door. So you can stay on the job and we'll come to you. Get Screwfix Sprint exclusively on the app. Screwfix, the choice of champions. T's and C's, delivery charges and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products only.
There's help for households. If you've reached state pension age and your weekly income is below £201.5p or £306.85 if you live with a partner, you could be eligible for pension credit, even if you own your home or have savings. If you're eligible, that's worth £3,500 a year on average, and you can get help with heating bills, council tax and more, plus cost of living payments. Search pension credit or call 0800 99 1234. Qualifying income level may be higher in some circumstances.
Psst, come here. Do you want to know the UK's best kept trade secret? It's easy to choose, easy to buy, easy to build. It's called Kitchen Kit, and the smart fitters in the UK are switching. Smart because it's quality, smart because it's delivered in 3 days, and smart because they're giving 30% off all trade orders for a limited period. So to get an extra 30% off a new kitchen, why don't you order a UK manufactured kitchen today at kitchenkit.co.uk.
Big races don't come any bigger than the Aintree Grand National. A big field, big jumps, and a big distance. And when you bet fair on the Grand National Festival, you get big rewards to celebrate the big occasion. Get a £10 free bet when you bet £10 worth of multiples, available every day at Aintree. It's the biggest race of all, with Betfair.
Opt-in required. Free bet valid for 48 hours and racing multiples only. Min combined odds 2.0. Max 1 per day. Exclusions and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Champions League live on Talksport with Till by NatWest, the card payment provider from NatWest. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
On the app, on DAB, on 1089 and 1053 medium wave, and on your smart speaker. April is the coolest month. Talksport. On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
What a goal!
UEFA Champions League football.
A brilliant goal!
Live on Talksport.
Rodri with the brilliant goal that separates the two sides. Live on Talksport at half-time. It's Man City 1, Bayern Munich 0. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Alex Apati from Ladbrokes. So City are 1-0 up. Are they going to see it through?
Yeah, the odds suggest so, mate. Look, City would have been well back before kick-off, but I think we can chalk the goal scorer result down as a win for the bookies. You can probably count on one hand the amount of Rodri backers at the start of this one. We mentioned earlier City were favourites to win the trophy at long last. 9-4 they were before kick-off. I can tell you they'll be much shorter than that if nothing changes tonight. As for this game, though, 1-5 they are to go on and win it now. Bayern 16-1, and a draw, which the visitors would absolutely take at this point, is 5-1. 3 shots for Erling Haaland so far, no goals. A dip, really. You could chalk that down as a bad night at the office by his standards. He's 3-1 to score next, though, and 8-5 for a goal at any time. Bayern have only failed to score against City in one of their 6 previous meetings, and remember, they are quite lethal in front of goal in the Champions League. Despite us not really seeing it yet so far this evening, even money does say they get a goal in this half. City are 4-5 on to score next. I'll go a little more punchy. Man City to win 2-1 at 11-2. So still wide open as far as the tie is concerned, but City would have snapped your hand off, I think, to be in this position before a ball was kicked tonight, wouldn't they?
I think so, Alex. Great stuff. Thank you very much. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Now, our Serena Wiegman's Lioness is actually going to lose a game of football. Let's go to the G-Tech Community Stadium at Brentford. Faker Others.
It's heading that way at the moment, Aidan. They're playing so badly. I've not seen them play this poorly in such a long time, and they've certainly not gone behind for ages. It's still England 0, Australia 1, thanks to that Sam Kerr 32nd minute goal pouncing on a Leah Williamson mistake. But England so sloppy in possession, losing it, having passes intercepted. They need to do something to protect that 30-game unbeaten run of Serena Wiegman's. This the final match before she selects her 23-player squad to take to Australia. England 0, Australia 1.
Faye, just a quick one. Could it be a good thing, possibly, if they do lose this match, keeping feet on the ground, maybe?
Absolutely, I agree with you. And to be honest, they haven't been able to deal with Australia bullying them on the ball, their aggressive press. They've really struggled to play the usual free-flowing game that we're used to seeing the Lionesses play. And just like the penalty shootout situation against Brazil on Thursday, I think this could be a good lesson learned. Hopefully they'll be able to come from behind and protect that unbeaten run that Serena Wiegman has put together since she took charge, but we shall see.
Hey, thank you very much. So the Lionesses a goal down at Brentford against Australia, who lost to Scotland in a friendly last week. News elsewhere tonight from the football world. Paul Joyce from the Times is exclusively reporting that Liverpool are now cooling off their pursuit of Jude Bellingham after deciding the scale of their summer rebuild precludes a move for the England midfielder. Rectifying the season's drop-off, infusing the squad with first-team talent means that committing such a huge chunk of this summer's funds to just one player is no longer regarded by the club as the best strategy. So that news tonight, Paul Joyce, a very reliable source of news and information from Merseyside, writing for the Times, exclusively reporting Liverpool are now cooling off their pursuit of the Borussia Dortmund and England midfielder Jude Bellingham. There's more on that at thetimes.co.uk. The teams are back out on the pitch. What an unbelievable goal. I'm still reeling, recovering from that strike from Rodri that separates these two sides. It's Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0. Brilliant first half. Can we have a brilliant second half, please? Live on Talksport with the former England captain Stuart Pearce and Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterpolis.
Thanks, Adrian. Well, everybody was downstairs in the press room at half-time, waxing lyrical about that goal from Rodri and the performance in general of Manchester City. The extra edge that they seem to have, the hunger, the desire to get the job done. Can they maintain that in the second half? What do you want to see from them, Stuart Pearce?
Well, a second goal wouldn't go amiss, to be honest with you, Sam. I don't know how I would view a 1-0 victory going away to Bayern. Whether you would say, well, I fancy City to score on the road anyway, so that really puts them in the ascendancy. But the one thing I would like to see is them defend like they did for the first 45 minutes. I would be delighted with that, because they've got enough going forward. They're natural animals going forward. It's that defensive nous.
Lost the ball just inside the Bayern Munich half. They've given it away to Goretzka, who's gone galloping forward. He sent the ball wide to Sane. Sane shooting from distance. It's punched away by Ederson at the near post. And it was an unconventional save by the Brazilian. Sane's got it back again, left side. I'll go through the 11s for you in just a second, but a fast start from Bayern, who flicked the ball into Gnabry, goes round the corner, tries to get on the end of his own pass, and it comes through to Ederson, who comes sliding out of his goal. Manchester City have Ederson in goal. Akanji, Diaz and Ake is the back three, and Stones and Rodri in midfield, although Stones has been playing as a member of the back four as well, and then stepping into midfield when City have the ball. Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan and Grealish further forward, and then Haaland up front. For Bayern Munich, Jan Sommer is the goalkeeper. He's had an interesting night so far. Pavard, Upamecano, De Ligt and Davis the back four. Kimmich and Goretzka holding, with Sane, Musiala and Coman behind Gnabry in attack. We've played 90 seconds of the second half. It's Manchester City 1, Bayern Munich 0. Guardiola has come out on top in 6 of his 10 meetings with Thomas Tuchel, and the feeling always is that Tuchel's got the upper hand. It comes from that spell at the end of the season where Chelsea won the Champions League. I think they beat them 3 times in 5 weeks in an FA Cup game, a league game, and then in the Champions League game. But before he'd landed at Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel had never actually beaten Pep Guardiola, and he's not winning tonight.
Well, with Pep's winning record, very few have beaten him on a regular basis or an ad hoc basis, to be honest.
All the games in the Tuchel time at Chelsea, all 5 meetings were won by a 1-goal margin, and that's what separates these two teams here. 48 gone, 1-0 to Manchester City. Trying to get away from Bernardo Silva was Jamal Musiala, and it was a little bit of a cynical challenge from behind by Bernardo Silva, and that's going to be the first yellow card of the game, Stuart.
Yeah, really poor challenge that was. As I say, he was absolutely nowhere near the ball, and all he was attempting to do was stop an attack.
That is a Pierce pet peeve, that, isn't it?
It is. I just think it's poor play. It's so cynical. It's almost more than a yellow, you know.
Yeah, but it's a player escaping, isn't it, going well away from you, and you decide to take emergency cynical action.
Indeed. But listen, that's the nature of it.
Trouble here.
Trouble.
Trying to play the ball down the left-hand side. He's found Sane, who's galloping in behind the defence. He shoots left-footed. It's saved by Ederson down low. Smuggled away by Manchester City. Ake came to the rescue and sent it out to the far side. Still not entirely clear by Manchester City. And then a challenge by Davis is a little bit too strong on De Bruyne. And that's going to be a yellow card for Alphonso Davies.
I'll tell you what, City haven't come out as yet this second half. They've had 2 efforts at their goal. One was well saved straight down the barrel of Ederson, and that one, once again, both from Sane, both coming down that sort of inside left position. Unfortunately, Ake was there to tidy up when it come off the goalie.
Well, Manchester City have won 4 of the last 5 Premier League titles. No one has won 3 consecutive titles since Manchester United 14 years ago. It really doesn't happen very often, and they are still attacking in all 3 fronts, with the Premier League, the Champions League and the FA Cup still to play for. The original treble. How they would love to win it. Here's Grealish getting the ball off Upamecano, and Summers has to scurry back into his goal. It was poor play by the defence. It comes back to Gundogan inside the area looking for Haaland, and then Pavard touches it back to his goalkeeper. They give it straight to Haaland. It's blocked by the defender. Kimmich on the penalty spot, and it spirals into the air. What on earth are Bayern Munich doing?
Well, it's that old adage, isn't it? Teams don't want to give the ball away, even in their own box. They think they can play out. When it works, it's brilliant. But is the risk and reward, and certainly the risk outweighed the reward on that occasion.
Grealish has gone down here after a collision, and he needs a little bit of treatment, which is a little bit of concern. Breaking news, by the way, that we just brought you in the last few minutes from the guys at the Times, that Jude Bellingham is not going to be pursued by Liverpool in their summer rebuild because of the scale of what is required there. A fascinating story emerging from Merseyside tonight. I'm sure there'll be more on that on the Sports Bar straight after the programme. 0371722 3344. That is the number to call if you want to speak to the boys on the Sports Bar. It's open for business from 10 o'clock this evening. There'll be fallout on breakfast tomorrow as well, with Laura Woods and the gang.
I don't know. I didn't actually see what happened to Grealish, whether it was a collision, a bang on the head, or whatever. But he certainly seemed shaken up by it.
Well, I think it was during that period where bodies were flailing around inside the 18-yard box away to our left-hand side, and he took a bit of a whack. He, I think, had a collision. There was a little bit of a collision with him and Kingsley Coman. Was there anything that happened after that? Not much.
No.
I've seen a replay of it. Nothing really, no contact there, was there?
No, none at all. I don't know whether he stretched something. He's fine. He's back on, which is good for City.
Well, Manchester City are going to want to use him as much as possible over the course of the next few weeks as they go on this pursuit of chasing down Arsenal in the Premier League. That's going to be a great game, isn't it? Arsenal against Manchester City here at the Etihad Stadium.
Magnificent. As I say, City, well, have literally got cup finals coming up week in, week out.
Ball given away by Upamecano, straight to Rodri, turns the ball over. They go back to Sommer. He gets pressed by De Bruyne. The ball's played wide and into the right fullback position, and Benjamin Pavard. They get it out towards the near side. Upamecano plays it infield, but he gives it straight to Rodri, and he's miles out of position now. Rodri goes backwards, luckily for Bayern Munich, rather than forwards, and they retain possession, City on the halfway line. 1-0 they lead here at the Etihad Stadium. That Manchester City-Arsenal game, one of 60 live games in April, the 26th of April. Date for your diary. It's live on Talksport.
I know. I'll be here, fella. Don't worry about that. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. And very much going to be a pivotal game in the title race. We've got the 2 FA Cup semi-finals. You going to both of those as well?
No, just the first one. Just the first game. I'll leave that to the experts doing both. Well, how many are you doing?
Ball's out of play on this near side. It's Pavard on the right full-back position, launching the ball down the touchline. Helping the ball into the sky is Gnabry, and then Silva has it inside the centre circle. It's up towards the middle of the Bayern Munich half when Kimmich just about gets it back to De Ligt, and he clears over halfway. Bayern Munich looking a little bit ragged now, but they send the ball forward, long towards Gnabry. That's a poor header by Diaz. He's given it to Gnabry. Gnabry trying to get into the penalty area. Across comes Stones and does brilliantly. Then Ake chases the ball out to the near side. He hunts down Coman. It doesn't go out of play. The City fans thought it did. It comes back to Sane. Left-footed drive, and it's punched away by Ederson down towards his right-hand side. How many times is Sane going to be allowed to pull the trigger from 20 yards?
Well, he's hit 3 already that the goalkeeper's had to save all 3. That is quite alarming. You know, I don't think they've had 3 efforts like that in the whole of the first half. They've certainly are the team that have come out in this second half with something to chase.
1-0 at present to Manchester City, live on Talksport. And the goal scored by Manchester City's Rodri separates the two teams at this moment in time. But here's Benjamin Pavard at the other end. He takes a half-deflected shot that spirals into the air, and it's touched behind by Ederson.
I tell you what, alarm bells ringing slightly here, City. They're being pegged back. Bayern are certainly much, much slicker in this half than they were the first half, and every attack seems to finish with an effort at goal at the moment.
And it's a corner kick on the near side to be taken by the slender figure of Sane towards the far post. De Ligt with a header, it's blocked by the defence. It comes back out to Coman, who sends it goalwards. It's headed into the air by Diaz and goes over the top, and it's out for a corner kick away to our right.
I tell you what, an absolute bullet header there by De Ligt. It looked, for all intents and purposes, that was going to nestle in the back of the net, and it's that man Ake again in the right place, 4 yards off the line, and got his head on it in front of his goalkeeper to deflect it over.
Benfica have taken the lead against Inter Milan. A 0-0. The ball in towards the near post. It's headed away by the defence up towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball's flicked back by Pavard. It goes into the arms of Ederson, and he immediately dispatches upfield looking for Kevin De Bruyne, and Sommer is underneath it. He's got to get something on it. He does, just about in front of De Bruyne. The Belgian was chasing him down, and the ball breaks the halfway. There's a foul by Pavard. Free kick on the halfway. Goal at the G-Tech. Here's Talksport's Baker Others.
England 0, Australia 2. Sam Kerr, the provider this time, across from the right-hand side to left-back Charlotte Grant, who headed home. It looked like Mary Earps had it covered, but it was deflected off of Leah Williamson into the back of the net. England 0, Australia 2.
Benfica 0, Inter Milan 1 is the latest scoreline over on Talksport 2. Barella with the goal after 51 minutes. Inter Milan in front in the Stadium of Light, the Estadio de Luz in Lisbon. And that game continues on Talksport 2. Just download our app. You can flick between the two stations, or you can ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2. Breakfast tomorrow morning with Laura Woods. Remember, if you want a little bit of music instead and some chat with Chris Evans, it's available for you on Virgin Radio, 6:30 every single morning. And that's on the Virgin Radio app. On the right-hand side, Akanji coming forward for Manchester City, who lead by a goal to nil. Infield it goes, where it's picked up now by Rodri, and then infield to Gundogan, slip wide to Grealish, who's a bit behind him. He's in the area now, comes in on his right foot, a back heel to the overlapping Ake, who strikes towards the near post, and it's pummeled away by Jan Sommer, who reacted brilliantly and turned it round and out for a corner.
Yeah, another example there of Grealish. Took two defenders inside. I think in years gone by he would have overrun it or driven it into defenders. A cute little back heel and put Aki in on goal, but to be honest with you, he's got to go across the goalie to get any chance of a goal there. Just drove it straight down the barrel of the goalkeeper, and Sommer more than comfortable.
De Bruyne onto Grealish in space on the edge of the area, back to Gundogan, who's got room. Now De Bruyne curls it towards the far post, chested down by Diaz, poked goalwards and pushed over the top by Sommer. And it's out for a corner kick over on the far side. Akanji turning around and saying he felt that someone was held inside the area, but the referee's given a corner kick.
Yep, I think they were claiming that Diaz was being pulled back. There might be a hint of offside here, actually, if it would have nestled in the net. But he's done brilliant. He's pulled it down, but as he was leaning... Well, we're just looking at a replay of that. It was slightly tugged, potentially, by Goretzka.
Well, the referee is not going to stop for a VAR check, and we continue with a corner on the far side for De Bruyne. 1-0 to Manchester City, deep towards the far post. Stones underneath it, back across the face of goal. Haaland trying to keep it alive. There was a crunch inside the penalty area, and as a result of that, Goretzka's gone down, and it's going to be it's Kimmich actually who's gone down, and it's going to be a free kick to Bayern Munich away to our left-hand side. So we played 58 minutes here at the Etihad Stadium in the quarter-final of the Champions League. Live on Talksport. Manchester City lead thanks to Rodri's goal. Since then, we've had chances at both ends. Ederson's had to make a couple of saves from Leroy Sané in this second half from shots from distance. And Manchester City, who've disrupted Bayern Munich playing out from the back on a number of occasions, have had their chances as well. But it remains 1-0. And that's just a slender advantage going into a second leg in Munich in a week's time.
Well, I think there's plenty more football in this game, actually. A good half hour plus to go. And the way Bayern have been pushing and pushing and pushing in this second half, there's every chance that they're going to get something out of the game if City are not careful.
Well, Bayern Munich have lost more European Cup quarter-finals than any other club, but they have been in more European Cup finals than any other club, and they're coming forward now, and Sané looking to be released by Kimmich round the corner. It's a really good interception by Ederson, whose starting position was exquisite, and the speed to come and intercept the ball before Sané could get there in behind the City defence was superb.
It certainly was. The ball was excellence in itself. But the goalkeeper's perception of when to come out and when to deal with the danger was even better.
Still, no changes for either of the two teams. We're hitting the hour mark. Haaland wins the ball, sends it back out to the left, and Gundogan flicks it into Grealish. Grealish tight to the touchline inside Bayern Munich territory. Guides it back towards the midpoint of the City half. And Bayern Munich have actually had more possession than Manchester City in the game so far. 55% possession. City have had 10 shots, 5 on target, 3 on target from Bayern Munich in the game. Here comes City down the right-hand side. Live on Talksport, leading by a goal to nil. It's with Bernardo Silva, whose selection raised a couple of eyebrows, but he did very well in that first 45 minutes. Hasn't seen much of the ball in the second. He's just gone past Alphonso Davies into the penalty area. Davies has come back at him. Davies has kept hold of the ball. Still Silva tussling for it inside the box. Might well get it back to Haaland. Does get it back to Stones, who strikes it. Did it take a deflection? It might have done. It's gone out for a throwing down by the corner flag anyway. It wasn't going to be a corner. But Bernardo Silva, who hadn't seen much action, certainly did there.
I'll tell you what, I think Bernardo Silva's got to be Pep's favourite player. I mean, he's of a similar stature, but when that ball arrives at his feet, he never loses it. His body movement, his low centre of gravity, he's just a magician with the ball at his feet.
It was a Manchester City throw that was tossed in, came back out again and goes out for a Bayern throw down by the same corner flag in the right full-back position. 60 minutes on the clock on Talksport. Tomorrow it's Real Madrid against Chelsea. Here is De Bruyne, then to Haaland, edge of the area, trying to find Gundogan. Grealish winning it back again, picked up by De Bruyne, tries to send it wide. Took a deflection and it was intercepted by Alphonso Davies, who races away to the far touchline. He's in the midpoint of the Bayern half and is dispossessed by De Bruyne, who's won it back and travelled down the right side, produced a cross in towards the near post looking for Haaland, but Upamecano has just read that, steps in front of him and cleared towards the far side, kept alive on the far side by De Bruyne once again. Everybody hungry and thirsty for the ball, desperate to get it back for Manchester City. The work rate has been superb all night. 1-0. Here's Rodri striding forward with the ball at his feet. He clips it out towards the far touchline. On the right side is De Bruyne. Immediately looks to release Haaland inside the area. Angle's tight for him, so he has to check back towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Rodri switches the play towards the left. It's intercepted by Pavard. Into the air it goes from Ake. Grealish then challenges Musiala and comes away with the ball. And then City look to build again. He's been terrific again tonight, Jack Grealish.
I think all the City players have, and I've got to say, I've got to tilt my hat as well to the Bayern players. You know, they've responded brilliantly in this second half.
What a terrific game of football we're witnessing here. The Champions League, the high watermark of club football, and these two certainly at the very top of the tree. Ruben Diaz has the ball at his feet and takes a couple of steps forward through the centre circle. Into Jack Grealish, who gets bumped from behind by Benjamin Pavard and then glances at the fourth official as if to say, anyone going to get involved in that? And it goes back to halfway. Rodri then turns and plays it down the right side. Another good touch by De Bruyne. And then he sends it on to Bernardo Silva, who wanders infield now, meanders up towards the edge of the penalty area, goes on the outside, releases De Bruyne once again. Rodri joins in and wasn't particularly comfortable with the ball at his feet there, and it's given away to Bayern Munich, who now look to race away on the counter-attack with Kingsley Coman out towards the far side. Leroy Sané taking over now. The rain coming down again at a relentless pace as the ball comes towards the edge of the area, and Jamal Musiala will leave it for Joshua Kimmich, who will strike. It'll hit the back of Ruben Diaz and go high into the air, controlled by De Bruyne, and then Manchester City, rather unruffled, bring the ball out towards the near touchline. Grealish keeps De Bruyne keeps it in, then slips on the near touchline and goes down. Grealish looks to go on, doesn't get on the end of it, and De Bruyne down looks in some bother, and that is a cause for concern.
It certainly does. I don't actually know what he's done, whether it's his arm, whether it's his groin or whatever, but he's certainly not got up since.
Did he just slip off the turf as he came chasing the ball on the near side?
Yeah.
And it's a very short distance from the perimeter of the playing surface. There's a tiny little bit of grass that is no
That's a groin
bigger
situation,
than the width of half a yard. And then there's the AstroTurf, and it looks as if he's just overstretched the groin.
Yeah, he's splayed like a baby giraffe. Do you know when they try to get up?
All right, listen, I'm not a giraffe expert, but I am aware of giraffes, and here is Pavard down the right-hand side. The baby giraffe wants to come back on again. He's now been allowed on, but it's taken a long time for the referee to allow De Bruyne to come back on.
I'm surprised that I know in the laws of the game you have to be waved back on, but then again you have to be asked to be taken off the pitch as well when you go. So naturally running off the pitch, I would have, if he'd have just turned around and run back on, I can't see why the referee's held him up a little bit there.
Musiala trying to turn in a tight gap. Sadio Mane warming up away to our right hand side with a clutch of Bayern Munich players. Could be an option for Thomas Tuchel as the game goes on. There's 25 to go, and City have inadvertently given away a corner kick over on the far side. And Joshua Kimmich is going to try and cultivate a chance for Bayern Munich, the away team that trail by a goal to nil. De Ligt at the back post. Upamecano goes travelling towards the near post. De Ligt is trying to get on the end of it, and that was a bit of a side swipe from Ederson, who came out and got the merest touch with his glove on the ball, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our right.
Yeah, not fantastic clarity there from the goalkeeper, but done enough with De Ligt just coming in behind him. He showed earlier he's got the ability to get on the end of things.
Bayern haven't been brilliant, but they've won 6 of their last 8 games, and they're putting pressure on the City goal here, trailing by a 0-0. In towards the near post was Goretzka, who went to try and glance it goalwards, but De Bruyne dealt with it brilliantly, and it's cleared away to the halfway mark. Thomas Tuchel is screaming down the touchline. I think Sadio Mane is going to be his first substitute. He's called him back to get him ready to come into this game. We're 66 minutes into it, and it's finally poised once again. 2 sets of supreme athletes working tirelessly to get through. I think Manchester City know that this is arguably going to be their hardest task over 2 legs. And Real Madrid is never an easy place to go, but Real Madrid are way off the pace in the Spanish league, and Chelsea way off the pace in the Premier League. That's their route if they were to get past Bayern Munich. Here is De Bruyne. He's got space out wide for Grealish. He took a little bit too long, and then De Bruyne's gone down, and it does look as if he's hurt himself again. And he has to be a little bit careful here, Kevin De Bruyne, because if he has tweaked something, the last thing he wants to do is cause it further damage.
Yeah, I think on that occasion just got some studs rolled across his instep potentially. But it is an intriguing game, finely balanced at this moment in time, with probably certainly the ascendancy in the second half is in Bayern's favour.
The spider about to come into the web. Julian Alvarez. Here on the left-hand side, Alphonso Davies sends the ball into the centre. Alphonso Alves has been long gone from the Premier League and European football. Ball has been sent through the 18-yard box, goes on this near side, and it's out and away for a throw. And here is Julian Alvarez coming on, and he is going to replace Kevin De Bruyne, who looks to the sky, puffs out his cheeks and goes, "Oh, really? Me?" Yeah, protection, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, potentially. As I say, players normally know their own body, and normally you ask, I'll tell you what, he's walked straight past his manager there.
He's flicked an arm up as well.
He's been asked the question, "Are you all right?" He said yes, and the manager's took him off anyway.
He flicked his arm up in the air as if to wave away the attentions of Pep Guardiola. He wasn't happy at all about being replaced with 22 minutes to go. He's been brilliant as well tonight, I think, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, as I say, there's been some sterling performances amongst the ranks.
Again, the rain comes down at a furious pace. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of rain, the sheer amount of rain that we've had today, or the latter part of the day in Manchester. Here is Goretzka out on the right side. It's collected now by Coman, whose cross is a beautiful one in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and Goretzka didn't get there, but it was Pavard who got up into the penalty area and got something on the ball, and it goes out and away for a goal kick away to our right hand side. Here's the change. Sadio Mane, formerly of Liverpool, coming on to replace Jamal Musiala.
Be interesting to see what that will do shape-wise to Bayern. I think Musiala's been okay, but I think certainly Mane will give a different proposition.
Well, Sadio Mane has only been okay since coming to the Bundesliga. It hasn't really been a move that has worked out terrifically for him, but he's obviously an immense talent, and there's no doubt about that. He is absolutely sensational, and Liverpool had the benefit of that. And of course, on his last visit to the Etihad Stadium with Liverpool, he did score against Manchester City. Ball given away to Haaland on the edge of the area. He drives into the box, he switches the play to Bernardo Silva, coming in at the far post, waiting for the ball to meet his forehead, and smashing it with furious pace into the far corner, back across the goalkeeper to rifle Manchester City into a 2-goal lead. What a mistake to make by Upamecano, handing the ball back to Manchester City. It's been a problem for Bayern Munich all night. Far too sloppy at the back, punished by the ruthlessness of this City attack. A square ball from De Ligt to Upamecano. He was casual coming out with it. It was won back by Alvarez. The back heel into the path of Haaland. and then the header thundered home by Bernardo Silva. It's 2-0 in the quarter-final.
Well, absolutely amateurish defending there, trying to dribble out. But I've got to say, and credit to him, the 40-odd goal man, Haaland, was in on goal. I thought he, for all intents and purposes, was going to take a shot, and he just chipped one up with a lovely, delightful sandwich for that man Bernardo Silva to come in and power a header into the net.
It's a crucial goal, isn't it?
More crucial, because it puts them 2 up, but more importantly, Bayern were by far the better side and looking more likely to score in the second half.
19 minutes to go. And Manchester City doubled their advantage at the Etihad Stadium. It's a terrific goal from Bernardo Silva.
I've got to say, Sam, they've been so clinical tonight, haven't they? These 2 goals have been outstanding.
I mean, Bernardo Silva is not someone you would expect to score with a header, but he just managed to tense his neck muscles to get the power to take it to the far corner. Upamecano has given the ball away again on the edge of his own penalty area, and Gundogan's got it. He takes it back onto his left foot and tries to get the return pass from Alvarez. It doesn't quite come off, but then Grealish swirls the ball to the far post, and Bernardo Silva is up there again, and Alphonso Davies has to intervene, and it's behind and away for a corner kick, and Bayern have got to be really careful here.
Yeah, as I say, Upamecano, you lose the ball once, it ends up in the back of your net. You've got to use your loaf and not do it again immediately. Well, don't do it again this season, basically.
18 to go. And it's a corner kick over on the far side for Manchester City. And it's taken by Alvarez in towards the middle of the 6-yard box. It's headed away, comes back out to Grealish. Grealish then gives it to Gundogan. And then City look to build back from the midpoint of the Bayern half, and Bernardo Silva, renewed of confidence, goes skating forward, ball into the box, comes towards Haaland, goes past him, Diaz keeps it alive, tries to recycle it from the byline, couldn't sort his feet out quick enough, and it's into the arms of Jan Sommer. I think it went behind before he crossed the ball.
Yeah, just popped out. It's quite fortunate it did, because there was a potential counter-attack on. But City now, that proviso, keep defending as well as you have done for certainly the first half.
It's a terrific performance from Manchester City in a huge, high-level game. And these are the matches where you earn your stripes. And Rodri, sensing the danger, but knowing his coordinates and what was around him, has just headed the ball back from 10 yards outside his area and planted it into the arms of his goalkeeper, despite the pursuit of 3 or 4 red jerseys. It was excellent. Manchester City have been excellent. They lead by 2-0 in the quarter-final of the European Champions League. A big night of action, a big week of action, a big month of action of Talksport. 25 consecutive days of commentary, 60 games in April now coming your way on Talksport and Talksport 2. All you need to do is just download our app. You'll access them all for free. Over on the far side, the Bayern Munich fans just a little bit quieter than they have been throughout the course of the afternoon. They certainly brightened up the city earlier on today as they marched from the centre of town out towards the east. And there might well be another change very shortly for Manchester City.
Yeah, just looking at the situation with the fans there, the City fans are taunting the Bayern fans, and to be honest with you, there's a big cordon of security and police between them.
To be fair to the Bayern Munich fans, they're not responding, are they?
Not at all.
Just standing there watching the game and ignoring them. Here's Gundogan. Out to Ake on the near touchline. He takes the ball over the halfway line, charges forward into Grealish. Grealish now hugging the touchline, takes on Goretzka, beats him, moves into a left wing position. Everybody behind the goal gets to their feet as the ball goes centrally to Rodri, then to Gundogan, looking for Grealish, who's broken the lines brilliantly, then played it into Haaland, back to goal, edge of the D, out to Alvarez, just had to take a touch to come in field, and then it goes to Gundogan on the left hand side. Gundogan inside the penalty area, Alvarez into the far corner. What a brilliant save by Jan Sommer. He may well have just kept Bayern Munich in the European Champions League with a diving save to his left hand side to fingertip the ball away from the goal after an Julian Alvarez effort.
Yeah, it was a brilliant build-up. I've got a feeling that it might well have been chalked off for a foul on a Bayern defender. if it was reviewed. But City now have got the ascendancy into the game. They've wrestled it back off of Munich, and they're certainly the side on the front foot.
They're pushing, they're prodding, they're harassing from the front, they're pressing high up and causing Bayern to make mistakes. They've given away a corner, and City are going to drift it in from the far side, the right. Alvarez with his hand in the air, just been stopped by Sommer, in towards the near post looking for Haaland, headed away by De Ligt, big, tall and brawny, manages to nudge it out of the penalty area, goes back to the right hand side. Alvarez with another delivery, Stones is up there, comes to Haaland, tucking it in from 6 yards out. Manchester City score a third, and they plant one big giant Norwegian foot in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Erling Haaland, who is a regular scorer of goals against Bayern Munich, but has never been on the winning side against them, is going to be on the winning side tonight. The Bayern Munich players drop to their knees. They walk forlornly back to the halfway line. Others have got their chins on their chest. They know that the game may well be up now. Terrific delivery into the box, kept alive by John Stones at the far post, and lurking with intent to score his 45th goal of the season was Erling Braut Haaland. It's Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0.
Well, I've got to say, I covered the last round of Manchester City's Champions League, and I said at the time I didn't think they could win it. I didn't see enough from their performance. I've got to change my tune tonight. I think this has been an all-round complete performance, both going forward, which we know that they're outstandingly good at, but also defensively as well, as a team, tactically. They've just got everything right tonight. This is quite an incredible performance. I'm so pleased for John Stones, because what he's been asked to do in the game tonight, tactically, on the ball, off the ball, has been brilliant.
Bayern Munich, though, looking to try and get a consolation on the night. Gnabry into the penalty area. Good challenge by Diaz, falling backwards. Brilliant stop by him. Nabs the ball away and clears upfield. Grealish has made some space on the left-hand side, and he's brought the ball down brilliantly from Alvarez's pass. He moves to the edge of the penalty area, drifts the ball into the box, away by De Ligt, and then picked up by Goretzka. Kimmich under pressure from Haaland, free kick, and it's going to be a Bayern Munich ball. What will Thomas Tuchel be thinking about this? It's a long way back from here.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think he's getting ready. 1 or 2 subs down on that bench, but at this moment in time, not only does tonight look beyond them, but certainly next week looks beyond them, and Champions League looks beyond them. And City have certainly put a message down with their performance tonight to everyone else left in this competition.
Well, they have been imperious at times, and they're coming forward again. Nabbed by Akanji, high up inside Bayern territory. Over on the right side, looking for Haaland. Punched away by Sommer. His cross was too close to the goalkeeper, and it's cleared away by Benjamin Pavard. They've been absolutely relentless the whole night, Manchester City. And Bayern Munich have had their spells. They've tested the goalkeeper on a couple of occasions. You do wonder whether or not, if one of those long-range efforts had gone in, how the nature of the game would have changed. But Manchester City have taken their chances. They've been ruthless in doing so. But Ederson's just made a very poor misjudgment, I think, to come out to the no man's land inside his 18-yard box. He was very lucky to get away with that. An offside flag has spared his blushes, and a tame effort from Sane. They don't want to give away anything cheaply now, Stuart.
Well, they should be hell-bent on keeping a clean sheet at this stage, you know, and if they do that, they've had a brilliant evening's work, I've got to say.
Well, the Bayern Munich fans are standing with their scarves above their head. They're trying desperately to try and rally their team. The boos you can hear are for João Cancelo and Thomas Müller. Cancelo about to come on, and not sure the fourth official's got the right number on the board, but don't worry about that. Alphonso Davies off, and João Cancelo getting booed by actually his own fans, Stuart Pearce.
Well, he's actually wearing a red shirt tonight and not a blue one, mate, so
but he does belong to Manchester City. Makes it awkward coming back, doesn't it?
Certainly does. you do ask the question, how is he allowed to play then?
Well, that is the rules in Europe. There's no such thing as being outlawed because you're on loan in European competition,
which I find very strange.
Alex Telles will play for Sevilla against Manchester United on Thursday night, and he's on loan from them.
I'm not sure I totally agree with that.
I suppose there's a sort of argument about conflict of interest, but at the same time, I think the European authorities are sort of used to it, really. I don't think it happens too much in the foreign leagues that you ban the players that are on loan at a different club. They always seem to be able to play against their parent clubs. Here is Coman down the right side. It's collected by Joshua Kimmich. Square it goes to João Cancelo, who drifts the ball down the left side. He is the man with the most assists in the Champions League this season, João Cancelo, by the way. All of them from Manchester City up until this point. Here is Haaland, back to Rodri, then all the way to Akanji, away to our right-hand side, and City have the ball again. 82 minutes gone here. It's finished, the G-Tech. And is Sarina Wiegman still unbeaten as the Lionesses manager? Here is Baker others.
She certainly is not, Sam. England 0, Australia 2. It's exactly 2 years since we last saw the Lionesses lose, and they've done it in their final match before Sarina Wiegman has to name her World Cup squad. Sam Kerr scored in the first half and was provider for Grant in the second. Mistakes from England captain Leah Williamson in both. A sloppy England performance all round, and they were punished by a team that they could meet in the last 16 of the home tournament. It's finished here in Brentford, England. Women 0, Australia 2.
Another big chance for Manchester City back here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City lead by 3-0. Julian Alvarez has just had an arcing shot which has gone narrowly wide of the right hand upright. It looked for all the world that it was nestling in the far corner. Sommer was beaten, and then just at the last moment it curled away from the post.
It did. I think there was a lick of paint being taken off there, and the previous attack to that, Bayern were being attacked, and this is a sign of a team that's had their heart ripped out. 4 players were up on the halfway line, and you thought no recovery run whatsoever. And I think there's no belief now in the Bayern ranks.
It's tricky, isn't it? I mean, it's only 3-0. You've got another leg to play. If you've lost 3-0, you can win 3-0. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We've seen massive Champions League comebacks. Liverpool have done just that. Barcelona have done just that in recent years. Are Bayern capable of it?
Yeah, but Manchester City are capable of winning 3-0 and winning 3-0. So that is the biggest problem.
I mean, to be honest with you, I might have been playing devil's advocate, because after 83 minutes I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking Manchester City are a cut above.
My goodness, I thought we were on about 68 minutes. It's incredible. This game has just flown by.
Yeah, it's because it's brilliant.
So good.
The Champions League, Stuart, we love it. Ball played round the corner for Sane to chase. Stones gets back, does a brilliant job, then gets fouled by Sane. Referee says don't worry about it, play on, because they've got the ball. No, now he's going to stop it because Stones might need a little bit of treatment here. Stones, who played a pivotal role in the Haaland goal, which has taken this time well beyond Bayern Munich. The noise inside the stadium being made by the City fans, who have been getting behind their team with gusto tonight. Conditions haven't been great, but the football's been magnificent.
While we've got a break in play, I'm just going to outline here the journey that certain footballers have. John Stones went off the boil, didn't he, a while back, a couple of years ago or whatever, and he looked as though there was no way forward, looked as though he might leave the club. And I think this performance by him in what he's asked to do for the team has been probably the best performance I've ever seen John Stones play, in all things considered, in not just in a Manchester City shirt, probably in his entire career.
Well, it's been coming, hasn't it? Because I mentioned to you a little bit earlier on, you'd go back a couple of years ago when he used to get a lot of attention because he would give the ball away. He would always look to play, he would take a risk with his passing, and he would occasionally make a mistake which cost his team, whoever that might be. Everton when he first started, then Manchester City. You know, I mentioned it in the first half, he has the best pass completion rate in the entire Premier League this season. And he is a lot more economical with the way he plays. He looks silky and smooth on the ball, and he has adapted his positioning. He's adapted to what Pep Guardiola has asked him to do, and I think you can only credit John Stones and the manager with that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think we had one or two issues off the pitch as well that might have contributed to it. And just why we've been waxing about John Stones, Pep's just berated a ball boy for giving the ball back too quickly.
Oh, again, they've given the ball straight back to Jan Sommer under no pressure really, and it's gone beyond him. He's had to try and chase it out to the far side, and it's gone behind the byline and out for a corner kick over on the far side. Upamecano again was the guilty party. He's had a bit of a wobble in this second half.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well for City tonight. Certainly in this second half.
3-0 Manchester City. 4 minutes to go on Talksport in the quarter-final. The ball is angled towards the penalty spot. Up there is Rodri. Oh, it's a brilliant touch over the top by Sommer, who sprung like a cat towards the top of his crossbar, and he had to. It's a fingertip stop by the goalkeeper, and you have to say, without him between the sticks tonight, it would be 5-0 already.
Yeah, and that was some header, by the way. He's hung brilliantly and got great power to it. He's not the biggest, is he, Sommer? So, you know, he doesn't feel the goal, it's fair to say.
It's a great reach. Another corner in towards the near post this time. Into the air by Pavard. There was a push by Haaland. Haaland can't believe that he's been penalised for that. And he thought that his shirt was being pulled. He's berating the referee. And the referee is having none of it. Says play on. Referee's handled the game quite well, I think, actually.
I think he's been very strong. And it's Kimmich got in and around him then. I think he's given the free kick for the earlier sort of shrug off of either Goretzka or Kimmich. I don't know which.
Yes, because he was getting all the feels from Upamecano after that, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yes. Interesting. Foul on Grealish from Benjamin Pavard, and it was unnecessary. Right on the halfway line, yellow card for the French international. You're listening to the Champions League live on Talksport with Till by NatWest, the card payment partner that works hard for your business. Manchester City working hard, and they're getting the business done tonight.
Yeah, Grealish just getting involved with Kimmich there. Something was said or done or whatever it may be when he was on the floor. But what you've got to do, it's all going City's way at the moment. Do not get involved. Don't break the... well, we saw how the access changed a little bit at Liverpool with Arsenal, and Xhaka potentially getting involved when he shouldn't have done.
Inter Milan 2-0 up away at Benfica. Manchester City 3-0 up against Bayern Munich. England have lost at home to Australia in the women's friendly international at the G-Tech Stadium. France 2-1 up against Canada with 15 minutes to go. Dundee have beaten Wraith Rovers at the top of the Scottish Championship by 3-1. They go 3 points clear tonight. Ball played out towards the far side, collected by Bernardo Silva. Manchester City 3-0 up. Lovely ball out to Grealish. Lots of space for him to run at Pavard. Right footed shot, overcooked it. He just saw the headlines on the back pages of tomorrow's papers, and he could see the opportunity opening up in front of him, but he just went a little bit too eagerly to strike the ball.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, Pavard has spread his body there and said, you're not going round me, and Jack's attempted to still go round him with a curler, but I think it's fair game having a shot there.
Bayern Munich, architects of their own downfall in the second half, giving away chances to Manchester City, who have taken them ruthlessly, and not being able to finish off their chances that they've created in the game. Most of them have been from range though, Stuart, haven't they?
They have. As I say, they've had a halcyon period, 10 minutes from half-time onwards, but then when City got that second goal and wrestled momentum back, it's been all City, really.
Certainly has. And Manchester City are about to set a new record. This will be a new English club record of 25 successive home games without defeat in the Champions League. This will be 9 wins in a row for Manchester City in all competitions. It's 10 home wins in a row in all competitions for City, who lead 3-0. João Cancelo still getting booed over on the far side. The City fans starting to just begin a little ripple of the Poznan opposite us, which is their trademark celebration when things are going particularly well. And they've scored a hell of a lot of goals in the last 5 fixtures. This will be 24 goals in 5 games for Manchester City. They've found their scoring boots at just the right time. They're not conceding goals. The defence has been magnificent. I think I've mentioned it before. I'm of the opinion that if you've got the best defence in a competition, you usually go on and win that competition. Here on the edge of the 18-yard box that City are defending, Sadio Mane's got a rare touch of the ball. He sent it wide towards the right. We've played the 90 minutes and we've had added time allotted here, 3 minutes of which have been given. De Ligt out to the far side. A Bayern goal might just change the complexion now. In towards the near post, headed away by Ruben Diaz and out towards the far side. Collected by João Cancelo again, trying to keep hold of it for Bayern Munich. Ball clipped into the air by Kimmich and spread wide to the Bayern right. Ake getting back into position. Koeman's cross headed down by Thomas Müller, who's come on as a second half substitute. Away by Ake. Upamecano keeps it alive for Bayern Munich. They want a consolation goal, because if they were to score here, Stuart, that just would give a little tingling of nerves amongst the City support that travel to Munich next week.
It would. As I say, it will give them a lifeline. I think when you go into the press conference afterwards, I think the thing that will impress Pep the most is if they keep a clean sheet tonight.
Here is Alfonso, here is Kingsley Coman down the right hand side, cutting the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. It's back towards Pavard, and then off Müller, back to Pavard again. His cross is a little bit too deep. It's over the head of Mane, and it's into the arms of Ederson once more. And Pep Guardiola just trying to get the message on that maybe City just drifting a little bit too deep, urging them to get up the pitch and make sure that there's no silly mistakes at this stage of what has been a terrific night for the football club. One of those pivotal nights, one of those nights that makes you believe that anything is possible.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think I've just seen the Leicester City scout leave, shaking his head, being carried out on a stretcher after doing a match report for the weekend.
The Bayern fans have just put a banner up in their end that says "Sheikh Mansour out," and it is it's been put up right next to the Manchester City supporters. There's a big cordon out there separating the two. Mane picks the ball up, runs through the middle of the pitch. He's got Stones in front of him. Space out wide to his right for Müller. Müller back into the centre. Ake is there to deal with it, and it's out towards the near side once again. Nothing like a provocative banner when you're losing 3-0. Here is Pavard towards Upamecano. Upamecano still inside opposition territory. Two Bayern players are on the floor, but they get up now as De Ligt floats across in towards Müller. Away by Ake. Further cleared by Grealish. Up into the air. 3 minutes have been played. There's the full-time whistle. Manchester City have been absolutely terrific. They've blown Bayern to bits. City will take a huge first leg lead to the Allianz as they seek a return to the Champions League semi-finals for the third season in a row. Thomas Tuchel said he was having sleepless nights before tonight's first leg. He'll struggle to get any sleep before the second. It's a big job for Bayern now, and a pivotal night in a week's time for Manchester City, live on Talksport. A terrific goal from Rodri got them started. A brilliant bullet header from Bernardo Silva II. Haaland with the clincher with 13 minutes to go. Means that the next destination is Munich on the Manchester City Champions League chase, and it will be live on Talksport. Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0.
Absolute domination from Manchester City. They're as good as through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, barring a disaster next week in Munich. And as Sam says, Talksport will be there. Interesting scenes on the pitch after the full-time whistle. Big hug. Haaland went racing over to Grealish, give him a big hug. Grealish was flat out on the floor, having run himself into the ground. There's a little bit of needle between Grealish and Joshua Kimmich. Had Kimmich been booked, he'd have missed next week, but somehow the referee decided not to book him. But maybe that might be revisited next Wednesday. But we'll discuss that then. This has been clinical from Manchester City tonight. They needed to make a statement, I think, against one of the big juggernauts of Europe. And Stuart Pearce, it's exactly what Pep Guardiola's side have done tonight. They've made a massive statement.
It was a complete performance, both defensively, offensively, tactically. Every aspect of football was on show from City tonight. In the last round, I said I don't think they can win it. I saw the odd fragility there. Wow, I've been blown away by that 90 minutes. I thought they were magnificent. John Stones, Bernardo Silva, incredible. There wasn't a weak link within their ranks. They defended when they had to. They had cutting edge when they had to. It was just magnificent.
Watching the Bayern players bedraggled, beaten, and virtually out of the Champions League. And Sommer, the keeper, he did okay. Actually, kind of kept them in the tie. Could have been 5. João Cancelo's taking his shirt off. He's getting booed. I mean, that was harsh from Tuchel, putting them on the pitch when they're well beaten just to get booed. But Cancelo took it. Sadio Mane came on. He's just gone down the tunnel. And Bayern Munich, once great and once feared in the Champions League, not feared by Manchester City tonight. City absolutely dominated them. Some brilliant performances. But just a very quick one on Upamecano at the back. A few nuts and bolts missing. I always preferred Lego anyway. Terrible, really. Truly terrible.
He was. At this standard, at this level, you've got to earn the right to score a goal. You can't give cheap goals away. And he not only done it once, he done it twice, he done it 3 times.
Great goals from City. Rodri with an absolute beauty in the first half. A Bernardo Silva header. What about that? And actually he deserved it. We're going to do a man of the match in a minute, but he did deserve that goal. But it was the work rate, and the Haaland one as well. It's all about the work, winning the ball high up the pitch. I think in all 3 goals they've won the ball in the opposition half, and they've scored from it as well. And that's what City are all about, that hard work that will open up the opposition.
I think that's a new strain that we're seeing from City. I think they realise if they're going to go and win the Champions League, that's what they've got to have as part to couple with all the brilliance they've got on the ball.
I think as well, when we talk about the 2 second half goals, we spoke a lot about Rodri's goal at half time. I loved the fact that there was hard work to win the ball back from Alvarez, but it's a cross from Haaland. You thought he was going to shoot. We all thought he was going to shoot. Brilliant cross for Silva to head home. But he got his reward, Haaland, because John Stones, the physicality and athleticism for him to get up and head that ball back across for Haaland to score was magnificent.
The sheer unselfishness for the group, picking out the right passes. I said to you before the game, Grealish now, as opposed to maybe a year ago, I'm talking Grealish, but as an example, he's playing the right pass when he should play the right pass. Haaland then, in on goal, 40-odd goals to his name. He should be opening up the goal and shooting. You think for all intents and purposes that's what he's going to do. He stands a beautiful ball up to the far post to a teammate. That's why City are so good, because they're trying to help each other out on the football pitch, not being that element of selfishness individually.
9 wins in a row. They're playing as a team. They are to be feared in the Premier League and in the Champions League as well. Stuart, let's pick out this evening's Man of the Match with Till by NatWest.
Man of the Match on Talksport with Till by NatWest, the card payment provider from NatWest. Till by NatWest. Tomorrow begins today. Fees, T's and C's and eligibility criteria apply.
There's a number of contenders, Stuart. Who are you going for?
Well, to say there's a number of contenders is an understatement. I tell you what, I'm going to go for very close in second will be Bernardo Silva. I thought he was magnificent in the first half. We all talked about Davis surging forward. How's he going to deal with him? I'll tell you how he dealt with him. He put him on the back foot and he went past him every time. That was a brilliant performance. But the one person I'm going to pick out, John Stones, he was asked to play midfield, drop in. Technically, he had to think for 90 minutes about where his manager wanted him. He'd done that brilliantly. He was fantastic on the ball. He set up a goal. It was the best performance John Stones has ever played in his professional career, bar none, in my opinion.
Wow, high praise indeed. He must be mentally and physically drained. John Stones, our pick for this evening's Man of the Match with Till, the card payment provider from NatWest.
Man of the Match on